I used to think that to save money, my only option was to do something dramatic like a no spend month or something. But I've recently discovered another way to do it that works so much better. I was talking to my mom the other day and I was telling her how me and my husband recently had basically like $100 to our name in terms of like cash when we took all of our money in our checking accounts, subtracted everything we owed on credit cards, and we literally had like $100. And this was right after our big Japan and Korea trip and me having a bunch of health expenses. So like it made sense, but obviously like I don't want to just have $100. So once I realized that and my husband told me he wanted to quit his job and start working in my business with me, I knew we had to go like crazy mode to save up as much money as we could. So from that point forward, we decided that we were doing our version of a no spend month, which is not a no spend month at all. And I can proudly say that today we have $8,000 to our name, and it has only been about 2 months since we decided to do this. Now, obviously, whether this is possible for you to save that amount of money is going to depend on a lot of factors. Specifically, how much money you make, how many people are making money in your family, if it's just you versus you and a partner. And most importantly, the ratio of expenses that you have that are like essential spending that cannot be changed. And you got to mix in a little bit of your risk tolerance into this equation as well. But if you want to hear about how I did it, then stick around because I'm going to be sharing exactly what we did and how we got to $8,000 saved. Whew. So almost 4 years ago, I quit my corporate 9-to-5 job 1 year after starting that job after college. And when I was about to quit this job, I was like, we need to save up a lot of money. So I started going crazy on saving, and I use pretty similar principles now that I did back then, and they worked just as well. And I've incorporated a few new ones in too. But the most important thing that you need to start with is number one, what your why is. So why are you trying to save up so much money in a short period of time or a long period of time? Because really what happens when you do this is you start getting sick of doing it pretty quickly. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it has its hard days, but if you have a reason why you're doing it, like a purpose behind it, it feels so much more valuable and so much more worth the struggle of doing it. So start by picking your why and knowing what that is. Obviously, our why was that my husband wanted to quit his job and I didn't want to be panic mode as soon as he quit in terms of making money. I wanted things to still feel like real life and normal and not scary as heck. And then number two is I like to set a time frame. So back when I quit my job, I had actually set a time frame of almost an entire year. I wanted to be doing this like frugal living concept of everything I'm about to share until December, which is when I was going to quit my job. But I ultimately saved up way quicker than I thought I'd be able to because of this method and ended up quitting my job like 6 months earlier than I planned. This time around, the goal was to be as frugal as possible up until my husband quit his job. And then from there, we would see where things were at with our money and how quickly we were able to bounce back from him quitting and then go from there. So at the time of starting this, I knew I had about 2 months to do this frugal lifestyle, and we are now post that 2 months. My husband had his first week unemployed from a typical job this week, and so far we are still trying to live the frugal lifestyle. There's like nothing showing us yet that it's time to stop it. So we're kind of looking at it like we have another month or two to push through and continue what we're doing to save as much as possible. So once you have your why and your time frame, then you want to start looking at your big ticket spending. So this usually means you're looking at actually your essential spending, and this is where the risk profile component comes into play. So for us, something that I was willing to give up was my health insurance, which I know is like very crazy and very risky, but what I knew was the insurance I had previously was coming to an end and I was gonna have to change insurances. And when I changed and I did some research, I found that most of the doctors I was currently seeing were going to be out of network or not even be covered at all by any of the insurance that we could even afford or decide to get. And I decided that I wanted to go the self-pay route after seeing what that looked like and knowing how much the appointments I knew I was going to have would cost. This is not a long-term solution. Please, if you live in the US, have health insurance. If anything, get catastrophic health insurance, which is the plan for us to get in the next few months. But I decided to take the risk and not have health insurance. I did this previously when I quit my job last time, actually. So again, not recommended, but this saved me $275 a month and and that adds up really quick. The next thing I did is I just literally looked through our budget. We use You Need a Budget or YNAB if you're familiar. I'll have a referral link down below. It's like my favorite app in the entire world. I've been using it for 9 years now, since I was like 16 years old, which is crazy. And I absolutely love it. I pay for it myself. It's worth it, I promise you. I went through my YNAB and I looked at all of our expenses and I tried to see which ones were like reoccurring that we really didn't need. So I ended up cutting, and again, remember back while I'm saying all of this, your why and your time frame. This is not forever. This is not a forever thing, and there's a reason you're doing this, okay? Like, you gotta remember that. I decided to cancel my therapy and to cancel my workout classes. So I was spending about $225 a month on workout classes because I was going to Aerial multiple times a week. I was doing yoga classes through ClassPass. I was spending a lot on working out, and when we were making good money and I knew we could afford it, it was worth it to me. And that was like my decompression zone. That's where all my friends were. Like, it made sense. But now when we're on this frugal lifestyle for a short period of time, I knew that I had other ways to work out at home for free. And I even have a friend that has a aerial rig at her house that I can go to. So I do not need to spend this money. So I decided to cut it. Therapy I had been doing for almost 2 years, and I was at a point in my therapy journey that we were doing actually just bi-weekly calls. So when I got to this point and I realized we needed to save money, I spoke with my therapist about it. Actually, before I went on my trip to Japan and Korea, and she was like, just don't worry about therapy while you're on your trip. And then when you get back, just see how you're feeling, because you're in a good spot right now. And I think it's okay if you take a break if needed, or come back once a month, or whatever you need. So basically she felt I was good to cancel therapy for a period of time if needed, which is how I felt when I got back from my trip, that was fine. So I canceled therapy as well, which saved quite a bit of money too. I think that saved about, when I was going weekly, it was a lot more. It was almost like $225, but bi-weekly, I was saving about $150 a month. So that was a huge bonus too. So once I looked at all my like big ticket items and I was like, okay, I can cut these things out for a period of time. Then I started looking at the items that I can't cut out, but that I wondered if I could make cheaper. So a great example of this was our electricity bill. So as soon as we decided to do this, I stopped having the automatic schedule on our AC. Now this specifically works because I work from home, and literally the AC unit is like, you can't see it, it's right there. So for me, I like don't forget to turn it up in the morning. But what I found is whenever I had the schedule on, I was letting it get like colder than it needed to during the evenings, and I was letting it stay cold during the day more just because of what I had it set to. So once I turned it to manual, I found that I was able to really think about, like, in the moment, can I handle this heat level, and change it to whatever heat level I could handle. I'm in Florida, by the way, so it's hot even in the winter here. And any day it was cold, like remotely cold, I just turned the thing off and opened up the windows to use the cold air as much as I possibly can. And that actually brought our AC bill down like quite a bit. That combined with some other tricks and tactics of like just simple things, making sure we're not, you know, running tiny loads of laundry, tiny dishwasher loads, things like that. Anything you can do to just like utilize your energy better, even if you're just saving $15 a month, like it adds up and it's helpful. So then I continued to go through my list and just again find things that I could cut down. Another big one was car insurance. We ended up just switching over to Geico from Progressive because we ended up saving about $100 over a 6-month period. So again, that's like what, I can't do math, $13 a month or something. I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? It's 100 divided by 6. That's what we saved. That adds up to a good chunk of money too. So basically just go through all of your expenses and try to find things that you can make a list of to start trying to cut down on. It might even be something like, okay, your phone bill is this amount of money and you've heard that T-Mobile is cheaper. Put on your list that you're going to call your phone company and ask for a discount. And if you can't get a discount, you're going to consider moving to a different provider. Make that list because it's going to take time to go through all of these items and really like work through them, because a lot of them are like obnoxious things you have to like call customer service and deal with, but it's worth it. I promise you. Go ahead and make that list and then you will work through that in the next few weeks. And then the last piece, which is honestly like the biggest driver in my opinion, the other ones do move the needle quite a bit, but this last one is like I'm telling you, it's the best one. And it's the reason why I think the no spend month concept does not work very well, for me at least. With the no spend month concept, you're so fixated on the pieces I talked about earlier. You're fixated on your time frame, and you probably have a why that you're doing it for. But for a lot of people that are very black and white like me, you're not looking at this challenge as a way to sustainably change your habits. You're looking at the challenge as a challenge, something you're doing for a short period of time and then moving away from. The items I listed before in my, big ticket spending and your like to-do list you make of things you can cut the cost down for, those items are essential spending. So in the no spend challenge, unless you're like doing your extra due diligence, you're probably not even going to touch those items. You're just going to leave them because they're, your basic spending, utilities, insurance, therapy, things like that. You're going to be focusing mostly on this next section, which is the habits section, what I call the habits section. So here's where things get really fun. When I have previously tried to do some type of no spend challenge, I started telling myself that some of my spending, like that was the only option, right? I was going to certain stores like Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. Don't go to Whole Foods if you're trying to save money. And I was telling myself, well, like groceries are expensive. Like this is how much things cost. And really it was because of lifestyle creep and because of also me trying to do these like different healthy eating challenges or trying out these different methods of eating and diets to hopefully help my health issues, which basically led to spending a lot more money. So what I did for this part is I looked at all of my variable spending. This could be essential and non-essential. And I asked myself, how can we make this cheaper? Not how can we cut it out or, oh, well, this is just essential so it stays the same, but like how can we literally make it cheaper? So there was a few specific things that I did that I really saw move the needle for us. The first one for us was groceries. So I was talking about Whole Foods. We were spending on average about $850 a month on groceries, which is absurd looking back. We have now cut down our spending to about $350 a month on average for groceries. That's $500 a month. Like that alone makes sense why we saved so much money in a short period of time, because we saved like $1,000 in 2 months. $1,000 of our $8,000 saved was just from groceries. So that is like huge driver. And how we did that is basically we started doing all our shopping at 2 places only. We went to Sam's Club to buy very specific items. We didn't go to Sam's Club and just like blow money. We went to Sam's Club. Actually, we didn't even like physically go in Sam's Club. I used the app to look at what we needed on our grocery list. Oh no. Hi. Oh no. No, I'm recording. My husband just got back from the doctor's office, but he left for me because I cannot record with him in the room. It's just way too awkward for me. Anyways, so where was I? Sam's Club. So I went through the Sam's Club app and I basically compared prices for anything I wanted to buy between Sam's Club and Walmart, because those are the 2 stores we shopped at for groceries only, nothing else. Unless there was like a very specific item that literally I could not buy at Sam's Club or Walmart, I only shop at those 2 places right now. So I would look at the pricing for something, check Sam's Club, compare it to Walmart, like the unit cost for it, because obviously Sam's Club is in bulk. If it was cheaper at Sam's Club, we put it in our cart for a pickup at Sam's Club. After going through the entire grocery list, I then would place the orders. Everything I couldn't get at Sam's Club or was cheaper at Walmart, bought it at Walmart and vice versa. And I started doing weekly grocery shopping trips and only planning 2 meals. Now, obviously this is what works for our family. You got to find out what works for yours. But for us, that worked perfectly because basically if I made 2 dinners per week, then we had enough leftovers for the rest of the week to cover basically 6 total days for dinners, which leads me into the next section, which is eating out. So what we decided personally was that if we decided to cut out eating out completely, that we would just be doing the very black and white method, which is okay if that works for you. But for us, that just didn't make sense and didn't work for us. And I found that I was less likely to give up on this or just like have a crazy day and spend so much if we just bought 1 meal out per week. So on usually Friday or Saturday night, we would get a takeout meal and go pick it up. We didn't do Uber Eats, like not wasting money on delivery fees. Like we would literally get in our car and go drive and pick it up. Or if you can walk somewhere, go walk and pick it up to save money. But we were allowing ourselves 1 meal a week eating out. Now, here's the other component with this is we were using coupons as much as we possibly could. So look up the place that you're going to get food out and see if they have coupons available on their reward app or something like that. Always sign up for the rewards if they have it. The place offers a reward program. You definitely want to get it. Oh, Mochi's here. Hi, Mama. She's gonna probably join us for a little bit now. Nope, or not. Bye. Okay. And for us, we found that our Our area sends coupons to us in the mail. So we would check the mail every week, get the coupons that came in, and then specifically pick out where we were going to eat out from those coupons and what was the best thing available. We also would check our credit card offers. So if you have a Chase credit card, they have an offer section that will have like 15% off Shake Shack, things like that. So we would look at those and try to plan around what offers, coupons, deals were available. Now for us, those two habits alone really moved the needle. The groceries and the eating out were kind of like our two big hitters that we found with our non-essential or variable spending. The other things that were really kind of killing us were Amazon purchases. So I basically made it a rule that we are not buying anything off Amazon unless, again, Amazon is the cheapest place to buy it. Now, notice here, I'm not saying we're not buying it. Like, I'm not spending on anything. There are a very few select things that we bought that were non-essential, we didn't need to buy, but I wanted to get, or my husband wanted to get, and we got it because for us, it just made sense. Another example was for Christmas, we got some cash money from family members, and instead of just blowing all of that cash money, we both put all of the money together and said, okay, we can each spend $80 on whatever we want. So we each picked out things for $80 and spent that, and the rest of it went into our checking account to be saved. Basically, you want to just be more intentional overall and build habits around your biggest hitters when it comes to your budget and where you're spending to decrease that amount over time, change up your habits, get used to something new, and then build a sustainable method around that can be repeated over and over again. With the groceries, for example, like this works for us because we do this on a weekly basis. Like every Friday night, I sit down with my husband and I'm like, okay, what do we want to eat this week? We pick out 2 meals, we each pick one, and then I go make a grocery list from that. I try to make those meals like more meshing if I can in terms of ingredients, but honestly, like I don't overthink that too much. For us, what works the best is just like the 2 meals concept, because then we're not overbuying a bunch of stuff. Then I place those orders for pickup for the next day. Next morning, I go pick up the orders and we're good to go for groceries for the week. That has been like game changing for us because it's just so easy, sustainable, repeatable that I don't find myself like randomly one night being like, oh my gosh, we have no food, there's nothing to eat, let's just buy takeout. Or, oh my gosh, we have no food, there's nothing to eat, I have to stop at the grocery store and I don't feel like going into Walmart because I specifically just like doing pickup there because the store's so crazy, and then end up stopping into Whole Foods or Publix or Target or wherever to buy random items that we need for groceries and spending like twice as much on them because they're so much more expensive. The last thing I'll leave you with, and this might not happen for everyone, but what we found is that when we started doing this, things just started like coming to us, like specific deals and coupons started coming to us. Like I got a Chewy coupon in my email for 30% off a purchase, which I'm going to use to buy our cat food. Again, always compare prices between like Walmart, Sam's Club, or wherever you're getting pet food to find the best one, even with coupons. But doing these different things, I think it's just that we're more aware and more noticing these things coming to us. But my husband just cleaned out his desk and we found like 3 different random gift cards that he hasn't used. So we're going to use those gift cards to go out to eat. He was randomly given the other day by someone at his old job a free sandwich at a restaurant. So we're going to specifically go to that restaurant one week as our weekly eating out so that we're spending half the money since one of our meals is free. Things like that just start coming to you and it really makes a difference. Those little things make a difference and also make it, again, more sustainable to do in the long term because you get these like little boosts of serotonin and dopamine throughout this experiment that you're doing. I don't want to call it a challenge because again, it's supposed to be sustainable, but it helps you just find ways to continue on and keep going. But if you try this out, let me know in the comments down below what works for you best, or if you've tried this out before, you have different habits and tips that help to increase your savings, then let us know in the comments down below those as well. But that is all I have for you guys in today's video. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about on this subject, but I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.